Good evening, Andy.
Hi Kev, how are you?
I'm doing great. That was it. That was a rather slick picture that you've got up there in your profile picture when it comes up.
Yeah, I need to change it. It was actually AI generated.
Oh, was it?
Well, AI enhanced, and then some of my friends saw it on Facebook and said, "You've got a nice tan since I saw you last." So I thought I should probably. I've just forgot to change it on Zoom. So thanks for reminding me, Kev. I'll put one that looks a bit more like me and less like I've been to LA.
It looked
Yeah,
as though you've been in hair and makeup.
I
Uh,
absolutely have not. I'm in Glasgow. It's cold and wet and dark, and I don't have that tan. But thanks, though. That was really good for my morale.
we were just going around the room and asking people what wins they've had over the last week or since we've seen them, and they've been sharing some great, not only great results as in getting clients, but some great results as in results for clients.
Awesome.
So that's really nice, and that's what we tend to do at the beginning of our sessions. But
Okay.
um, but we can get straight into our session because I think that's what we're all here for, to hear what you've been up to and how you've been building your business. Now, just as a bit of sort of history for me, knowing Andy, Andy, is it 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago, something like that?
So I did your 30-day challenge in around about April of last year. So it's only been,
A
well,
year.
not been quite a year.
Wonderful. And the thing that struck me at the time when I met Andy was that it was just going to get stuck in. But I remember, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this, Andy. At the time, it was kind of like I actually don't know how I'm going to pay my mortgage.
No, that's 100% true, Kev. I was 1 month away from not being able to pay my mortgage. That's 100% correct. And I'm not like that's not a secret,
No.
But my plan actually is this year to pay off my mortgage. And that's where I was last year. That's where I am this year. But that's absolutely true. When we first met, I was like, how the hell am I going to pay my mortgage in? I think we maybe started at the end of April.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, that was a very real situation.
And so you dove into the client attraction challenge, and I guess the rest of it's history, and that's what we're here to hear. And hopefully people will have some questions for you as well. I'm recording it so the rest of
Great.
our members can watch this. But I thought it'd be a good idea if I actually kind of put it on to sort of speaker view, so you are in the main gallery. And is there anything you need from us before you start talking, or do you just want to tell your story?
No, you've already perked up my self-esteem, Kev, so I think I'm good and I'm ready to go, I think.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
Take the stage, Andy, and
I
thank you for
mean,
doing this.
that's okay. I absolutely haven't prepared anything, so I'm literally just going to talk about my experience. So, to give a bit of context, I have only been a hypnotherapist for 2 years. I qualified as a hypnotherapist at the end of January 2 years ago, and I quit. I quit a really well-paid job to just go out and do it on my own. I was a deputy head teacher in a primary school. I had been for about 10 years. I was being like paid about 60 grand a year or something. I left all of that behind to do this, and people in my life, including my parents, thought I was absolutely crazy. But I just knew that I would find a way to make it work. But I wasn't finding a way to make it work. So sorry, I'm just going to put my phone on silent. I started dabbling with TikTok in around about September of, so not September gone, but the September before. And I posted reasonably consistently for about a month and a half. And I didn't see immediate gains from that. And I did what was classic of the old version of me. I'm now, I suppose, Andy 2.0. The old version of me would not see returns from something and I would just kind of give up. And that's really what I did. And when I started as a hypnotherapist, I was a little bit naive in that I thought if I build it, they will come. I would put up a website. I can build websites. So I built my own website. I put that up there. I thought, yeah, people will find me. I posted a little bit on my personal Facebook page. But in the harsh reality of this world, that's not how this all works. And so I'd got to around about April and I was like, what am I going to do here? And then I saw your client challenge and thought, like, I might as well do it anyway. So I just started to post. I'm really good at following instructions, Kev. When I buy it, I got a Hoover for Christmas, came with an instruction manual, read it, made it work. So I just literally followed your instructions for 30 days. I did the stuff that was really uncomfortable to me. For example, when somebody followed me on TikTok, I sent them a message and said, thanks for the follow. I'm Andy. This is what I do. And if somebody commented on my video or liked my video, I did the same. That did what you said it would do, in that it started conversations with people. And once I started conversations with people, because I know my stuff, I got into hypnosis and hypnotherapy because I battled a decade of anxiety. So I know exactly what it's like to be there. I can speak that language. So once I got into conversations with people, it really wasn't difficult at all to book them as clients. In fact, I kind of didn't have to ask them if they wanted to work with me. They said, I'd like to come and work with you. So it started from there, really. When I started the challenge, maybe at the beginning of May, I'm a bit hazy on the timelines because it's been a bit of a wild year, but I probably had about 1,800 followers on TikTok. I didn't have that many followers, and I was still able to get, a decent amount of clients. I paid my mortgage and I paid everything else I needed to pay. And then between end of May or beginning of May and August, that's how long it took me to go from about 1,900 followers to 10,000 followers. When you get to 10,000 followers on TikTok, you can monetize your account. So that's how long it took me to go from just under 2,000 to 10,000. From August to Christmas Eve, that's how long it took me to go from 10,000 to 100,000. And then I'm at 131,000 now, but I literally have not posted on TikTok for a month because I'm actually building my own product now to sell, which I'm going to use TikTok and the email list that I've built up from TikTok. So I've pulled away from posting. I am still having consultations every day with people. I booked 2 clients today, one in the Isle of Man, one in Michigan, all from seeing me on TikTok. In the last month, even though I haven't posted, I think I've had like over 2 million views or something on TikTok. So it's still working for me, even though I've backed away. When the product is finished this weekend, I'll go back to posting on TikTok. Then my plan is to build on Instagram next as well. Not that I'm trying to take over the world, but it's good to have more than one stream and to diversify. So to put it into context, in January, I made more in January than I would have as a deputy head teacher, for a lot less hours. And so for anybody who's sitting there wondering if it's possible to replace a good 9-to-5 income, it is possible. Is it easy? No, absolutely not. A lot of people contact me, and I actually get a lot of hypnotherapists message me on TikTok asking if I can help them to do what I've done. And a lot of them say, oh, you're so lucky, you get so many views. And I actually say back, well, yeah, it's funny, the harder I work, the luckier I get. So none of it has been luck. To start with, I literally just did what you told me to do. I just followed the plan. I like plans. If you've got a plan, you know where you're going. So I followed the plan. And now I don't reach out to anybody on TikTok anymore. It goes the other way. They reach out to me, or they'll just book a consultation straight away. But certainly in the early stages, that's what I did. And then I suppose there's lots of different facets to this, but what ended up happening, so now I'm top of my local search rankings on Google. But actually, I booked a client in Glasgow, or he booked to work with me, and he's like from the other side of Glasgow, about 20 miles away from here. And he said he found me on ChatGPT because he asked ChatGPT, who's the best hypnotherapist in Glasgow for X? And I came in the top 10. Then he looked at my website, and then he read my reviews. And that's the really important part. He read the reviews from working with people. So he booked to work with me. So I actually went into ChatGPT and I asked it the question for lots of different things in hypnosis. And I'm in the top 10 for all of them. It's not because I'm like the best in the world or the best in Glasgow, but it's because I've got the most 5-star reviews. And so my advice to somebody who's starting out as well is, if you get clients, go like 1,000,000% above and beyond. Like when I work with clients, I record the session, I split up the session, I put nice background music on, I send them recordings of the sessions, I type up notes, I give them homework to do in between sessions to help them to move the needle. I'm literally all in. And what that's done for me is given me, like, people don't just write a 2-line review. People write like War and Peace on what I've done for them, because I've provided them with an unreal level of service. And then in return, that's now I get people from other cities close to me who contact me because I've done that. So as soon as you start getting clients coming in, go all in with the client work, give them the best experience you can. And in return, you'll get an amazing review from them. But then, so I signed, I signed a screenwriter in LA because her husband found me on TikTok and said, look at this guy. So I worked with her in December, and then her husband, who's a film producer in LA, I worked with him in January because his wife had such a successful experience. I'm now going to work with their son. So when you give people like an unreal level of service, the referrals come in, and you don't have to chase them. You don't have to do anything for them then, so it becomes like a little bit of a sustainable model where I've pulled back. I've not posted on socials for a month, but I'm still really busy client wise.
Can I ask you, are you doing it all face to face, or is it online, or is it a mixture?
Probably about 95% of my work is online because most of my clients. So in the last 6 months, I've worked with clients in LA, Seattle, New York, Tunisia, Greece, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales. So more of my clients are from outside of Glasgow than they are local. I mean, I do sort of semi-occasionally, I was doing it every week. And this is another thing that people can do if they're struggling to get clients. I literally just found all of my local Facebook groups, all the different areas that are close to me. And I found out the days that you can do business posts in those groups. And I posted stuff that, I made one of your flyers. You had a flyer that was like a template that's got, I think, like a nice mountain range at the top. I just made that into an anxiety relief one because that's really the area that I work on in the most. And I post that in local Facebook groups and with a little bit of a blurb, or I post reviews. And when I post the reviews, they're the ones that actually generally tend to get me bookings because people can read firsthand the changes, because that's what people are looking for. They don't care about hypnosis. They don't care about Andy. They don't care about all the stuff I've done. They care about the change that they're going to get. Yeah. So I would also post in local Facebook groups to get clients. And a lot of those will be local. But the vast majority of mine are just online. I don't pay for a space to work. This is my front room. This is where I live. And I've just set up like a little area in the corner. And yeah, so almost all online, I'd say, really.
Can I ask you, from a sort of price point, have your prices gone up? Or have you kept them sort of like the same as they were a year ago?
I am quite pragmatic stroke cautious. So what I've wanted to do is to build a bank of money to rely on in case like something happened to my TikTok account or something. So I've prioritized quantity in terms of how many clients I could get, and I've not pushed my prices up yet because I've experimented. And so I signed an investment banker today, and so I don't think this is unscrupulous, but I will get from somebody what they do for a job before I tell them the price, and I'll give them such a great consultation that they'll say like, when can I start, before I've told them the price. And so, if it's somebody who's an investment banker, I'm going to charge them more. But on the flip side of that, I've been contacted so I worked with a young girl in the south of England who was a new mum. Life was just a mess for her. And she said, I'd love to work with you, but I really can't afford it. And I said, tell me what you can afford. That's what you can pay. So she paid me a small amount, but that was offset by the fact that I'd signed another banker that morning. Yeah. So my prices are where they are just now. I'm going to release this product that I'm making. I'm hoping to generate enough income from that I can back away from the client work a little bit, raise my prices, and so still see a good amount of money come in, but maybe for less client hours.
So can you give us a clue as to what your product is, or would you like it to keep it top secret?
It is in the relationship sector, I suppose. So I have bucked the trend, I suppose. So I trained with the Jacquins, and I've also done some training with Mike Mandel. And all of the advice that I got from everybody was niche down, niche down, niche down. Now, as you'll see, I am a musician. I have a degree in music. I've experienced performance anxiety. I've performed at a really high level, being a Scottish champion, played at the European Championships, then experienced extreme performance anxiety. So I could have gone down the route of really niching down and being, like anxiety for musicians or anxiety for trumpet players or something like that. I just did the opposite. I literally just posted stuff about everything, and the messages about anxiety have resonated with people. They've come to work with me. But I also have noticed that a lot of the content that I've posted that has been relationship based, trauma bonds, or trying like how to heal a broken heart, stuff like that, that's performed outrageously well. So I've built a product based on that, that basically helps people in that kind of area. So I suppose it's that classic, what is it, health, wealth, and relationships. Relationships, you talk a lot about evergreen content, evergreen products. That is I suppose an evergreen niche to go in. But I have not I've not pigeonholed myself to any particular niche. So I do work a lot with people with anxiety because I know how to defeat that, because I've done that myself. But I do smoking cessation, vaping cessation, confidence, all kinds of phobias. I worked with a guy last year who had a fear of mushrooms, mycophobia, and cured him of his fear of mushrooms. And he's a very wealthy businessman, and he works with me. He's got me on retainer to work with him twice a month, just to help him with business stuff. So I've not pigeonholed myself. Prices, I have just stayed roughly the same with prices. It's worked for me. I've made, more than enough money. I'm not greedy. Obviously, I need to pay my mortgage, which I almost wasn't able to do. But I do this job, like I assume everybody else here, to help people. That's why I do this job, because I know what it's like to be in that position where life feels hopeless and you don't know how to climb out of that hole. So I also I work with a lot of people who probably wouldn't be able to afford my increased prices, and I'm kind of enjoying that just now because I feel like I've got the chance to give back to those people.
Yeah, I mean, well, everything you say is, it just resonates with our philosophy of being in service.
Yeah.
And helping people. And I like what you said about, finding out what they do as jobs first, because that kind of determines their income, and what amounts are going to seem reasonable to them. So it's not going to be jarring in any way. That is a smart way of working. And again, it gives you the opportunity of working with people of all income levels and saying, no, you can't afford me, I'm not working with you. Because, that's leaving money on the table, isn't it? Having that no flexibility is, is leaving money on the table. But having a lot of clients gives you that kind of luxury option of changing your prices or being a little bit more lenient on price, and that's a really nice position. It's been just a question about what you were doing with TikTok and the type of things that you were posting, just so people have a bit of context. Was it videos? How long were they? What kind of content was you delivering? I know people can go and search it and have a look, but in your mind, what was you focusing on?
Two main things, I suppose, really, and one was way heavier than the other in terms of the amount that I posted. So I live in streets of tenement flats. So one of the types of videos that I would make was just me walking down the street amongst all these tenement flats with a selfie stick, recording myself talking about my journey. So some of that content will be about the things that I've overcome, advice, things like changing the way you think changes the way you feel, and the advice that we would give out in sessions. Because I don't think I'm not a pure just do hypnosis with people. I do a lot of sort of brain retraining, helping people to see things differently. And so videos about that, videos about client experiences, and the thing that's made me, this is really embarrassing, Kev, but I've actually been recognized out in public quite a few times because of TikTok, including when I went up to, the irony of this is I'd posted a video on TikTok and I was waiting for it to load up, and it was somebody had specifically asked me to record this. So it was a hypnosis session, and it was hypnosis. I was literally called hypnosis. You might have to bleep this out. It was literally called hypnosis to stop eating shit, right? And then I was busy uploading. I went up to the Chinese to buy a Chinese to eat rubbish food. And as I was in the Chinese, the lady said, "I know you." And I said, "No, we've never met before." And she said, "My husband watches your videos on TikTok." So I've just posted hypnosis sessions on there, short hypnosis sessions of me, like literally doing hypnosis for different things. I have probably at least 5 videos on there that have had more than 1 million views. I think the one with the most is maybe about 3.5 million, something like that.
What length? What length of video are you talking about with stuff like that?
Between 8 and 9 minutes is
Right.
like the sweet spot, I think. So like I said, I'm going to approach Instagram soon, but I'm going to have a different strategy on Instagram, because any video over 3 minutes on Instagram, and they won't push that out to non-followers. They'll only show that to followers. So I'll have to have a different system and do some different things on Instagram. But TikTok likes long form content. You get rewarded for dwell time. So you can imagine, like, if it's an 8 or 9 minute video, and even just 1% of the people who've clicked onto it watch it all the way through, that's a huge amount of minutes of dwell time. So it sends a signal to TikTok that this is content worth watching. And I suppose I've given a little bit away there, in that I've told you that I understand what I'm going to need to do on Instagram to be able to make it on there. That's not by accident. That's me watching videos on Instagram, studying Instagram. So I am now in the stage where I'm spending a lot of time watching creators on Instagram, not creators in our space, creators in other spaces who are doing well. And then I'll replicate what they do in our space. And that's essentially all I did on TikTok. It's not rocket science. You know, anybody could do it. If you watch videos on TikTok, you understand what works well. You watch people on TikTok who teach other people on TikTok, and you take all of their free advice. You know, I've not paid to work with a coach. I've done no paid advertising at all. I've done none of that stuff. I've simply watched content and then replicated it. And then people say that you need to post at least 100 pieces of content before you start complaining about, oh, I'm not getting many views. And like, see, when you've posted that amount of content, then you can go, yeah, that cluster of videos did really well. I'll do some more videos like that. That kind of hook worked really well. I'll do some more kind of videos like that. But the unfortunate thing is, you need to put in all of that work before you get to that stage. And it's just a case of just getting your head down and filming content. Like, I can't even tell you the amount of hours I've spent filming content for TikTok. You know, the irony is, it's made me a much better hypnotherapist, because I've literally done hundreds of sessions, like off the cuff, where I've, you know, and I have people message me saying, like, I watched one of your 8-minute videos and it completely changed my life. I'm like, honestly, it blows my mind, but it has actually made me much better at hypnosis, because I'm literally doing it. Like, not only am I doing all the client sessions, but I'm doing all of these videos. And then because I'm remembering all the stuff I'm saying in the videos, all of a sudden in a client session, I'll just find myself saying stuff and I'll be like, where did that come from? But it's just that putting in the reps, isn't it? Muscle memory.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So are you getting what we would call a residual passive income from TikTok as well, because of the amount of views that you're getting?
Yeah, I mean, remember I told you that I didn't know how I was going to be able to pay my mortgage. In October, November, December, and January, TikTok paid my mortgage.
So it wasn't your client work?
No, it was money from video views that paid my mortgage. Now, it's not going to be the same in February, because I haven't posted in January. However, even though I haven't really posted much in the last month, I have still made some residual income.
Yeah.
It would have been more. I did have some issues at the start of January with some duplicate content issues. I start all my videos the same. I film them all. I have been filming them all in this corner, dressed similarly. And I think TikTok started to think that it was just the same video being repurposed. So I did have a battle with TikTok about that. I got my videos reinstated. I think that was in line with the shift in algorithm that was experienced when the country of America seemed to buy TikTok, and that caused a bit of a shift in the algorithm. But I have since been sensible and designed a few different areas in my flat. So I have like a few different spaces that I can film in front of here or film in front of there. So I don't need to film in front of just this space. And I'll start posting content again probably next week once my thing is ready to sell, I suppose.
So how are you going to promote this new product that you've got?
Well, so I have built like a really big email list. I've gone from when we started, when I did that, the client attraction challenge, I didn't have an email list at all. I now have an email list of like way over 2,000 people. The last open rate, because I check stuff like this because I'm sad. The open rate, the open percentage for the last email that I sent, I was like 45%. So that's like a really high open rate. So one of the ways that I will sell it is through my list.
Yeah.
And then on TikTok. So I give away lead magnets. I give away free hypnosis recordings that people can download. If they give me their email address, then they're on my email list.
Right.
And I actually have a free download that's kind of closely related to the product that I'm building. So I know that all of those people who've downloaded that are interested in this product. So through my email list, when I start posting on TikTok, again, when you get more than, I think it's when you get more than 10,000 followers, you can put a link in your story. So now when I put a story on there talking about this product, I can actually put like a hyperlink in and people can click on it. And I'm probably going to have to bite the bullet and start going live on TikTok. That's something I've avoided up until now. Even though it doesn't come across this way, I'm actually at heart a huge introvert. I'm incredibly shy. Even though I had a really forward-facing job, I am quite an introvert. And honestly, that's something else that the posting every day on TikTok has really changed for me. I don't think I would describe myself as an introvert anymore. I would say that I used to be, but I'm better now. I think the process of having to go on the camera, even though I felt so uncomfortable, like when I see some of my earlier videos, when they pop up on my feed, I'm like, oh, but that's such is life, so I'll probably start promoting it through TikTok lives. And then, like I said, I'm going to start Instagram, and that will be another place that I'll start to post it as well. So as many places as possible, really.
Wonderful. Well, it sounds like you've had a really, really busy and successful year, and it sounds like you've put an awful lot of hard work into it all, and got through a few kind of comfort zones.
100%, yeah.
As well, which is wonderful, and that is, what a credit to you for taking the ball and running. I'm sure people will have some questions for you. Hopefully nobody will be asking you to give away any secrets. I'm sure you'll be very open with it as well. Look at that. Alison's hand straight up there. Go on, Alison.
Yeah, I've got some questions.
How many?
Just not, well, I could probably go on for a while, but I'll just ask some. So how many posts have you done on TikTok, Andy, and how often were you posting?
I honestly don't know how many posts I've got on TikTok, because see, if you go on Instagram, it tells you how many posts you've got at the top. TikTok doesn't do that, so I'd have to actually count them. Definitely more than 100, probably about 150. I would say at my most prolific, I was posting one a day, no more than that. I then realized that the videos on a Saturday and Sunday didn't really get much traction, and I felt like I was just wasting my time on that. So when I got into a steady rhythm, probably between July all the way through to December, I was doing 5 days a week, Monday to Friday.
And so you mentioned about Instagram was nicked, I guess, for you.
Yes.
So why TikTok over YouTube? Because everything I hear is you should get a YouTube channel, posting YouTube videos. Is there a reason you didn't go down that route? I mean, I don't know anything about TikTok. I don't use it at all. I don't even have an account. So I just always hear about YouTube.
So for long form content on YouTube, that's where you're going to have somebody who goes onto YouTube and searches for, hypnosis or they probably wouldn't even do that. They would just say like anxiety relief or help with sleep. I feel like YouTube is more of a search engine. And so the content on there it's a slow burn, and I didn't have time for slow burn because I couldn't pay my mortgage. So YouTube is more of a slow burn. You will find that you maybe put videos on and eventually they'll rack up views, but maybe not quite as quickly as TikTok. I downloaded TikTok and I used TikTok for a few weeks as a user to understand what it was like to be a user on TikTok. And the way TikTok works is just brain rot. I was watching videos of people falling down and stuff like that. Like, my feed on TikTok was wild because I was just watching funny videos of people having accidents or cats who were really cute and stuff like that. So I engaged with TikTok as a user, and saw that user experience. So if you can grab somebody's attention while they're scrolling a sea of crap, right? If something comes up that is like, oh, because hardly anything that I saw on my feed, there was one or two hypnotists who were doing what I started to do. And if I'm honest, like, I didn't build my model. I saw somebody else's model and it made it work for me. But hardly anybody was none of the videos I was seeing was that kind of stuff. So when somebody's scrolling all this crap and they're anxious, because most people who scroll on TikTok are anxious, either because they're scrolling on TikTok or that's the reason they're on TikTok, because they're avoiding something or whatever. So if I could capture their attention for a few seconds and reel them in. So for me, it was, I can post a video on TikTok, and I haven't for a few weeks, but I could post a video on TikTok and within a day, it could have over 100,000 views. That won't happen really on YouTube. And I needed quick money. I needed clients. I needed them fast. So that's probably why I went with TikTok over YouTube. I do also plan to start posting longer form content on YouTube. I think my plan, I have a very grand plan to take over the world, but I think part of my plan is that I have an idea for a podcast that I think that I will probably do at some point. I mean, I also have an idea for a book that I've in here I've already written, but so I'll probably use YouTube to put my podcast on, I think, and then do what all the other smart people do who've got podcasts, chop some of that stuff up and use it as short form social media content as well. Kev's nodding because he probably does that, So that's why I went with TikTok over YouTube. YouTube is actually, you get higher quality stuff on YouTube. I can't disagree with that. But for what I needed at that time, I was able to build a following, which, gave me a lot of clients.
Really helpful, thank you.
Makes a lot of sense.
So, I'm going to say about the marketing, I guess all the time you spent doing TikTok videos, how long did it take you? Like, are you like scripting these, just doing it off the cuff? And like, how does that all compare to how much time you actually spend doing client sessions?
So let's say it's a Sunday, right? Because that's probably when I would do my videos for the week. So I would come up with 5 video ideas, either based on something I've seen somebody else do, or I would come up with my own based on the multitude of problems that I've had in life that I've solved with hypnosis, and then create like five video titles. So Monday to Friday's videos. So I use my best friend is ChatGPT. He actually has, between me and him, he's been given a name. He's called Cal because he thought that was a cool name, apparently. I'm a bit worried that he's going to come and sort of take over my life someday. But so I have programmed Cal in the exact style of hypnosis that I want him to write for me. So the type of induction that I want, pacing and leading statements, Ericksonian hypnosis, confusion, things like that. Cal knows exactly how I would induce trance with somebody. He also knows exactly how I would structure a 9-minute TikTok hypnosis video. So I'd just say, hey, Cal, write me a 9-minute hypnosis TikTok script on revenge, bedtime, procrastination, something like that. Then he would write it in about 10 seconds. So I would script 5 videos in about 5 minutes. I actually use an app on my phone called Big View, which is a teleprompter app. And so I'm going to be changing this, and I'm not going to be doing this anymore. But on the front, so I would use the front camera on my phone, and Big View would display my script on the phone, so I could just film myself with the front camera, read the script. Sometimes I just did it completely unscripted because we can do that. But for quickness, I would do that. So to script videos, you're probably talking about 10 minutes. To film them, I mean, I have to be honest, it's not for you if you don't have the time. To film 5 videos would probably take me about an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then probably about the same to edit them too, because you've got to cut out, like, there are so many things, like on TikTok, like the people who watch TikTok have got such short attention spans that you can't have any dead space, when you're talking, unless it's like a meant pause in hypnosis, after you've dropped a suggestion or something. But so, like, I would go through and edit, cut out all the dead space, put captions on, because that's the kind of thing you have to do for search engine optimization as well. So I'm talking for my Monday to Friday hypnosis videos for TikTok. It'd probably take me the best part of a Sunday to do it. I also send out a newsletter on a Sunday night, so that would be something else I would do on a Sunday as well. So in terms of like short term, like, I've worked a lot of hours each week, right? So if you looked at my earnings per hour, you might say, it's not amazing. But what I've actually built is, now I haven't posted for a month and I'm still getting people through for consultations. And it's also enabled me to have the space and the time to not post this month, so I could build a passive income product. And then I sell that, it starts to make money. I already know what my second product is going to be that I'll sell. And then once that's built, I'll move on to the next one until I add all of these together and it becomes a membership product with me. So everything I've done has been like intentional. So I think when you start any business, you've got to front load it. And when you bear in mind that I've actually only been doing this for 2 years, there was a massive amount of front loading for me because I didn't have any clients. I didn't have a job. So yes, I have spent a lot of time doing that. Was it worth it? Absolutely. Have I enjoyed it? Yeah. Is it great when you go out to a club and you get recognized by somebody? It's pretty cool. Not going to lie,
Wonderful.
Well,
Okay.
thank you, Andy.
Great questions, Alison. Any other questions bubbling up there from people? Just unmute yourself and ask away.
It looks like I've got off lightly there. That's all.
Not yet, sir. Not yet.
Sorry.
Andy, thanks. Very inspirational, really.
Thank you.
Very good. And deserved, clearly deserved. You put the foundations in and you're just doing incredible stuff. I'm surprised about TikTok because I loathed TikTok. I just, like you're consuming such crap on the feed. And for me, I just thought, I don't know if there's an audience here. Now, obviously, we resonate in different spaces. I'm just curious. I mean, Facebook has tremendous reach. I know it's a very noisy area. It seems the go-to for most people who are already on there, perhaps, just to leverage, their presence on there already. You haven't mentioned that. It doesn't seem part of your strategy. If not, why hasn't that been so? Is that just simply because you've kind of found the momentum on TikTok, or what?
2 reasons, I suppose. So at the beginning, I did a little bit of posting on Facebook, a little bit of posting on Instagram, and a little bit of posting on TikTok. I spotted immediately that TikTok was giving me some gains. So I just doubled down on that one because I didn't have time to spread myself so thin that I was doing all of that. So I just strategically went, that's the one. I just knew there's a hypnotist in America who's done a very similar thing to me, and he has so many followers. And I just thought, if this guy can do it, I can, because I listened to his language and he used, like, there was some phrases and I was like, that's Mike Mandel. Or there were some other phrases and I was like, that's the Jacqueline. So I thought, if this guy can do it, I can do it too. So I just doubled down on one. I thought, if I can make it big on one, I can spread myself sort of a little bit thinner later. And see, if I'm honest, the second reason is because as soon as I qualified as a hypnotherapist, or before, I started a Facebook page and I invited all my friends to it. And see, if I'm honest, I didn't post prolifically on there because I was quite embarrassed, because I didn't want everybody to see me doing hypnosis, because like that's not who they knew me as. It was because of pride and ego, if I'm honest. And then the irony is, I thought I'll go on TikTok because nobody knows me on there. So I was a teacher for 20 years. That's thousands of children. And now all of my kids have found me on TikTok and they comment on my videos and stuff. So when I go all in with Instagram, those posts will go on Facebook as well, because there's a cross posting option where you can post straight to Facebook from Instagram. So Facebook is going to be the next part of my strategy, because now I just don't care what people think when they see my videos. So that's what this posting on TikTok has done for me, by the way. I spent way too many years giving a damn about what people thought about me, and now I just don't really care. And so I'll post all that stuff on Facebook and not be bothered. But the main reason was because advice that I got was, don't try and make it on all the platforms, because you'll end up making it on none of them. Find one that you get some initial traction on and go with it. And that's what I did. I just went all in with one.
I mean, I think the perception is, I'm speaking as a pensioner here now, that the TikTok audience is quite young, but the fact that you've managed to draw clientele from there, I guess across all age ranges, is that true, Andy?
That's what you would think. But honestly, I have had more older people as clients on TikTok than I have younger people. I mean, so for example, this really lovely lady who lives in Glasgow, she actually worked with me on Zoom. She found me on TikTok. She was 71. She came to me with severe debilitating health anxiety. She wasn't leaving the house. She had kind of pretty much accepted at the age of 71 that her life was over. I worked with her and her life just changed in ways that you couldn't imagine. She found me on TikTok. So the perception is that it's just for the young people, but it's really not true. There are people out there, and the age range of the people I've worked with has been wide, but I've had more people on the older end of that spectrum than the younger end, all from TikTok.
Wow, that's a surprise to me. It just seems such a noisy platform, doesn't it? That people don't seem to hang around. They're just scrolling on purpose. But obviously, you're doing something that stands out, that interrupts that pattern, clearly.
Well, if it's a noisy space, what if somebody on there wasn't noisy? How nice would that be? And I think that's maybe what's happened, that it's just like crappy video. Oh, here's somebody who's going to make me feel better. I'm going to watch this. And then it just worked, I suppose. I didn't anticipate that this is the way it would have all panned out, that I would have ended up with so many views and stuff. I just dug in and just put the work in, and that's what ended up happening. But I saw an advert on Facebook the other day about how many millions of people are struggling with anxiety in America. Like, the need is unreal. There is an epidemic with things like anxiety, and like I get people who contact me about things like emetophobia and stuff like that. The world is crying out for us. Literally, all we have to do is put ourselves out there. And that's what I didn't do at the start. I thought, like, people will come to me. Like, that's so naive. I laugh at myself now that that's what I thought, but I have just literally put myself out there. And, when I meet people, like I met a lady this morning in Michigan, and she said that she had to work with me because of how genuine I was. It's not because I'm the most skilled hypnotist. It's not because I'm the best at video production. I'm really not. It's not because I'm like the best at any of those things. I'm the best at being Andy. Like, I am the best at being me. I'm the best at being my most authentic version of me. And because I battled with anxiety for a long time, like real debilitating anxiety. I mean, I went from performing on stage at the Albert Hall to not playing at all because I just couldn't do it anymore. When I talk about that, people are like, this guy gets it. So I think the thing that's really got me clients is my genuineness. And also, I would say the word vulnerability as well. I don't pretend to be like some amazing, like, I am the hypnotist and all of that. Like, I show my vulnerable side, that I've been through all of that stuff. I share those stories when I work with clients, and it's really empowering for them to see, this is where he was and this is where he is. So I think the thing that's probably got me the most clients, and probably what's expanded my reach is actually just being me and not pretending to be somebody else.
Making a living out of being you.
It's funny that, isn't it?
It's the dream. It's the dream life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Something struck me then, Andy, and that is that people will feel safe as well.
People are not stupid, Kev. Even I mean, some people on TikTok might appear stupid, but when somebody scrolls onto you, they can tell like that. We've all got a spider sense, haven't we, for like a detector for that kind of stuff. And if you are, why is it we talk about being congruent in the way that we speak, the way that we use our facial expressions, our body language, our intentions? If congruence is there, people are like, I feel safe with this guy. People literally say, I felt safe to give you a call. People just cry to me like that because there is a safety there, because I've showed my side too, and I'm completely congruent. And I think like, so what the studies show, that the single biggest defining factor in success in therapy is the relationship between a client and the therapist. And if you can be like vulnerable and hold space for them, of course, like, they're going to love that, aren't they?
Yeah, really important. Building that rapport is just incredibly important. We've got another question from Alison.
Yeah, sorry, I don't mind waiting if anyone else has questions.
Oh, go
Where
away.
are you from, Alison?
I'm in South Queensferry.
Oh, okay. I've done Queensferry Gala Day a few times. I play in a brass band.
Yeah.
I used to play in Whitburn brass band, so I was over there quite a lot.
Yeah. So what I was going to ask, how many clients are you getting per month on average, Andy?
January was somewhere in between 15 and 20. But bearing in mind that I don't sign anybody for a single session. I only sign clients for blocks of sessions. Unless it's for smoking cessation, then I just charge them a lot more. But if I'm honest, I really don't like doing smoking cessation. It's my least favorite thing to do. I find no joy in doing that whatsoever. But for anxiety, for confidence and things like that, so maybe 15 or 20 clients. But like I said, I don't book anybody in for an individual session. I did book a couple of people contacted me in January about like making bespoke audio recordings for them. So I actually did that as well. But the way that I did that was, so I worked with this really nice lady who was going to give like this, it was almost like a TED talk at the end of January, and she was terrified about it. So I took everything that she gave me, and I did make her an amazing audio recording, but I actually did a session with her. So I said, I would charge you this much for the audio recording, but why don't I just do the session with you? I'll take you through what I've prepared. I'll give you a much more powerful in-person experience. And then I gave her the recording of the session afterwards as well. So I had a couple of those. I just signed a guy in America who wants a bespoke audio recording made, but about that, maybe about 15, something like that. But that's like, I wouldn't want any more than that, really.
Yeah, it seems quite a lot. Is there a reason why you didn't put your TikTok videos on YouTube? As in, do you need a different style of video, do you think?
Well, the funny thing is, it's not funny actually. I'm still really annoyed about it. But somebody has downloaded all of my TikTok videos and uploaded them onto YouTube and created a YouTube account pretending to be me. So I'm in the process of going through a DMCA takedown with YouTube about that. Honestly, I am really like, the more I think about it, the more OCD I am. And all of my TikTok videos are obviously vertical because it's TikTok. And there would just be something really annoying for me about them going on YouTube and not being a landscape video. So I thought I would save that and put some on YouTube, like redo some of them, or make some longer ones and put them on YouTube. I think just it was the time as well. Like time was like so critical for me because I had no money and I needed some. So I just literally went, TikTok is working, I'm just going to do that. And I just stayed. I think it's quite difficult in this world. I was listening to a podcast yesterday about how our attention span is terrible these days. And I sat down to edit some recordings this morning. And I put a timer on my phone to force myself to work for 45 minutes and give myself a 15-minute break at the end. And I was dying to check my phone after like 5 minutes because that's the world we live in. So I just forced myself to be laser focused on TikTok, even though like it would have been great to have been a YouTuber and stuff as well. I didn't have the luxury of doing all that because I needed clients, you know.
Thank you.
Okay.
And see your captions, sorry, on the videos. How
Yes.
did you learn to do the videos? For example, like doing captions and editing. So I know there's obviously stuff Kevin, you have done on that, but how did you learn it?
By doing it. I'm really good
Like
at
using Google and just finding out
you
how
can
to start.
learn how to become a rocket scientist on YouTube these days. It's wild. You can learn how to do anything. Listen, I've got a piano behind me, right? I'm a pianist now. Never played the piano in my life until a couple of years ago. Bought a piano, watched some YouTube videos. I can now play the piano. You can learn anything on YouTube. So I use a program called CapCut. CapCut is and has always been synonymous with TikTok. And although TikTok has its own native editing app now, you can get CapCut for mobile and you can get CapCut for desktop. I use a Mac for all of my work, a MacBook, and I use the desktop version of CapCut. You can get a free version. You don't have to pay for it. I pay £10 a month for the professional version because there are some things in the export settings that I want to be able to do that you couldn't on the free version. But literally, film your video, import it into CapCut, press captions, and it will make the captions for you in like 30 seconds. And then you can edit them however you want them. My accent, it doesn't, CapCut doesn't love my accent. So there are some things that I inherently have to change. I imagine with your accent, you might have to do the same, Alison. I learned how to do all of that stuff on YouTube. I paid for a course last year. I paid for a course called Content Creators, and they teach you how to make courses. Because essentially the product that I'm going to release is built in like a course. It's built in a platform called Go High Level, which is similar to Kajabi. If you've ever experienced Kajabi before, the Jacquin's stuff is on Kajabi. Mike Mandel's is on Kajabi. I have a different version called Go High Level, but it does the same thing. So I did see a few video editing things on there, but I'm not naturally good at anything, but I'm good at following instructions. I'm basically good at being told what to do until I hated being told what to do by people and I quit my job and worked for myself. But honestly, go into YouTube and type, how do I edit videos in CapCut? You will see 6 billion videos who teach you how to do it. And it's not even hard. It's not hard at all. The shortcut keys you can use. You know, I do it. Lots of people I know do it on mobile. I think I'm probably just of the generation where I just find it easier to do things on desktop, feel more comfortable, so I can get things done quicker on a desktop. So I just edit all in CapCut on my desktop, airdrop it back to my iPhone, which takes like 10 seconds, and then upload it onto TikTok from my phone. I have a couple of pieces of technology. I have a Mac, which I literally use for everything. I have an iPhone, which I use for all of my recording. I did pay for some good quality microphones. I have a Rode wireless microphone that I use, and I'll just spin my laptop around. I have done, if you can see that, like I have some lights that I use because lighting is key to make your videos good. You can have a shit camera and make your videos look good if you've got good lighting. If you've got the most expensive camera and your lighting's crap, your videos are going to look rubbish. But apart from that, I've not spent any money on anything. I've not paid for any fancy editing software. I used the free version of CapCut at first. I used the version that cost me like £10 a month now.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, any other questions?
I think maybe before Ewan started to speak, I think maybe Gwendolyn had a hand up, but I've maybe answered her question now.
It was just on the length of the videos, that was all. I always thought the TikTok went for very quick videos, but
it's funny. You would think that, and that I think historically that's what TikTok primarily was at the start, but the higher ups at TikTok value retention. So if you can create a video that keeps people on, I think it gets pushed out because it keeps people on. So it seems to be counterintuitive to what we think TikTok is all about, like that that quick fix of dopamine, which is essentially what's happening when people scroll on TikTok. But again, like I was saying, if you can be like the one voice in a sea of absolute crap on TikTok, then, you know, people are going to stop and go, she's different.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay.
Do you use TikTok Shop for your digital downloads?
Sorry, say that again.
Do you use TikTok Shop for your digital downloads, or do you go somewhere else?
What, for selling things?
Mm.
I don't use TikTok Shop. So I pay for a subscription to this thing. So Go High Level is like sells like this subscription. I have mine through somebody else, but I pay about £50 a month for this software. It's like a content management system. And so on the back end, I can, so I build my whole website on there because I built my website. So it sits on there with a website builder similar to WordPress. My email system is in there, so I don't have to pay a separate fee for like MailChimp or something like that. I have my email system in there. It also has, if you've ever on Instagram commented on somebody's post and you immediately get like an inbox from them, that they probably use something called ManyChat. So my system that I pay for also has that functionality, the same as ManyChat. What else can it do? I'm not a salesperson for this system. It houses my booking calendar. So I don't pay for an extra booking calendar, and I can sell digital products direct from my website. So I do have a very small amount of audio recordings that people can buy, and it's set up as an automation. They buy, it's connected to Stripe. The money goes to Stripe. They get sent an email with the digital product in. So I just direct people to my website and they'll buy from there. When I start to sell this product that I'm making, it will all be housed in there. It's going to be like an online course where people go in and watch videos and listen to the audios. It'll all be saved in there. So it's like an all-in-one tool where I literally do everything. I think it's smart to try and keep everything in one place as much as possible, but that's maybe just my OCD talking again, perhaps.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Kat, you got your hand up.
Yes. Andy, you mentioned about local Facebook groups. Are
Yes.
they anxiety related? And are you getting clients from there too?
Yes. So I primarily post about anxiety related stuff, I suppose, because it's my, like, it sounds weird to say it's my area of expertise, but it kind of is because I was anxious for so long. So I know loads about it, but that's not the only clients I've had from local Facebook groups. Often I'll just post, this is a review from a client I worked with last week. If you want help with anxiety, sleep, smoking cessation, although don't say smoking cessation in Facebook groups because your posts get flagged and removed. Gwendolyn's nodding, so she's experienced that before. So I'll just say, if you want to work with me for phobias, anxiety, sleep, and I'll get people who come around for like, arachnophobia, fear of fly and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, not a prolific amount of clients, but say if I posted tonight, which I'm not going to, because I don't really need more clients just now, but if I did, I might get 1 or 2 clients from that, you know. But so I've got a client who's starting on Thursday night, and this is really interesting because I was tracking this client's journey with me because I can see this in my system. This client, and this is how long sometimes it can take to get a client to work with you. This client downloaded a free recording from me at the beginning of October that he'd requested on TikTok. And he's had my weekly email since October every week. And it's taken him until the beginning of February to book a consultation, then to book as a client with me. So don't think that, you know, if you put a post on Facebook today, you might get them as a client in like 2 months' time. It's still worth doing it, even if you don't get it in the moment.
Thank you.
Okay.
And how many sessions do you get from a client? How many sessions do you recommend?
I do 4 sessions with a client, always 4 sessions. And what I've started to do over time is, when I started, Kat, I'm going to be honest, I had no idea what I was doing, right? Like probably the same as everybody else when they first start. Like when I became a teacher, I had no idea what I was doing either until I taught for a while. But now that I've become a little bit more skilled at questioning clients and listening to their language, like every week so I don't have like a set of 4 sessions that everybody gets the same 4 sessions with me, because that's crap. I think, you know, in terms of client experience, every week when I work with people, I take really detailed notes. I don't know if you know this, but you can get Zoom to take notes for you. You can turn on the AI note taker and it takes amazing client notes for you. But I take my own notes. I listen to the language that people use. I listen to the metaphors that they use. I'm just chasing around in circles and things like that. And then the next session has all of that language built in. And then at the end of the session, people will be like, it's like you're in my head, and it's not magic. I'm just using the words that they've said. So 4 sessions is like because sometimes people are coming to me with like decades of anxiety, and as much as they'll be met, and I see these hypnotherapists who shout loud on Facebook, you don't need 4 sessions. You don't need to provide recordings, half an hour with me and I'll fix the world. But some of these people have been living with dysregulated nervous systems for 20 years, and you don't just regulate a dysregulated nervous system like that. And I know that because I had one. So I work with people once a week for a month. I give them homework to do, brain retraining tasks, breathing exercises, things that literally work to calm a dysregulated nervous system down. So I generally tend not to work with anybody for less than 4 sessions for 2 reasons. Number one, because it's a good amount of time to really change somebody's life. And number 2, because I want the money from those people. To be
Fabulous.
direct, yeah.
Fabulous. What kind of homework do you give them? It's just meditations or hypnosis?
No. So most people who come to see me for anxiety have the worst self-talk, like literally the worst self-talk. And I know. So I could talk to you all night about this, Kat. I used to think that I had anxiety, and people say to me every day, my anxiety won't let me do this. And I've heard it all. I didn't have an anxiety problem. Really, for me, I had a thinking problem. My thoughts created my reality entirely. I felt sorry for myself. I blamed the world. I blamed everybody else, woe is me. And actually, I was the architect of my anxiety. So I teach people how to retrain their thoughts. I teach people what to do when they recognize that they're speaking to themselves like shit, or, they're catastrophizing. We break that cycle so that we can install a new version of behavior. So one of the things that I'll do is give them literally every time you find yourself speaking negatively, imagine taking that thought out, scrumpling it up like a piece of paper, throwing it in the bin and replacing it with another thought. Because people talk about neuroplasticity and brain training. That's literally how we retrain our brains, right? We stop doing something and we start doing something else instead, and the old neural pathway dies and the new one grows. So I do things like that. A lot of people with anxiety also have trouble with sleep. I was the classic example. I was an insomniac for years. So I've perfected the art of falling asleep within about 30 seconds. If I close my eyes, I would do it now. So I teach people exactly what I do to take control when I fall asleep, because as soon as you close your eyes, if you don't get to sleep immediately, that's when your unconscious mind brings all of the crap from the day out. So if you can do something to stop that from happening, if you can take control of your thoughts and think, I practice gratitude when I fall asleep every night. I'm giving you all of my secrets now. But if I constructively take charge of my thought process as I'm falling asleep, the negative stuff doesn't come out. So I'll teach people how to fall asleep better. I teach breathing exercises that I use before I go on stage. So I'll teach them those things. A whole range of things, and it depends on the person, depends on what's going on for them. But I generally have a bank of things that I give people. And then, so I do tons of stuff to try and save me time. So in my client folder, I have a document that says client communication, and it will have all the different homework tasks that I give out. So after a session, I'll send a client an email with loads of notes in, but I've copied that paragraph because I've given them that homework, and I've copied that paragraph. So I'm not writing it every time. I'm sort of saving myself some time. And then I'll give them the recordings from the session to listen to again and again. I see all these amazing hypnotherapists on Facebook who say you don't need to do that. Is there any harm in reinforcing the work that we've done? I think not. Also, in terms of perceived value, that's a selling point. When I have a consultation, you'll get the recordings from the session. You'll get notes from me. I give them also recordings. So I have a set of audio recordings that I sell on my site, Kev. This called Relieve Anxiety, Stress and Overwhelm. It's actually something that I bought from you, and I sell them on my site. So I give those recordings 1 a week to clients as well. Why? Because they're really good. I recorded them for me to listen to relieve my anxiety, stress and overwhelm. So I give them things like that. So I am honestly, I can't overstate how going above and beyond in the short term will impact your business significantly in the long term in terms of, referrals and amazing reviews and things like that.
Thank you so much, Andy.
You're welcome.
That is wonderful. I mean, over delivery, you've said that right from the beginning. To over deliver is so important. It's
so important, Kev. So when I did the client attraction challenge, I think we learn from people in two ways. We learn from what people say, and we learn from what people do. And I looked at what you did in that client attraction challenge and how you underpromised and over delivered, and actually delivered a ton of free stuff. And honestly, another thing that I was told, don't give away free stuff, don't give away free content. It's bullshit, Kev. I started to see your stuff because you were giving stuff away for free. I've bought stuff from you since then. So you've made money from me by giving away free stuff. I've made tons of money from clients by giving away free value. I learned more from you from the way you acted than from the way you spoke. Does that make sense? Because I could tell, again, it's that whole, we know when somebody is genuine. I could tell that you were genuine, that you wanted to help people. You can just tell. It's easy. It either is or isn't. And so I learned more from the way that you acted than the way you spoke. Obviously, the advice you gave about, sending messages to people and stuff, that all worked for me. But actually, you vindicated for me the idea that free value is the way to go. And you said stuff about, you gave free talks at village halls and things like that. I remembered all that stuff that you said. That's because you're not just in this business to make money, right? You're in this business to help people, and people can spot the difference. Yeah. People know the difference. So the stuff that I took away from you wasn't necessarily the intended teaching points, but more the philosophy behind it, I suppose.
Yeah, and the philosophy is so important.
Yeah.
And people, as you say, people can smell it a mile off.
100%.
Intention.
Yeah.
People can smell it a mile off. And going back to what you said earlier, when people feel safe, because they're vulnerable, they need to feel safe.
Yeah, but what do we know about people with dysregulated nervous systems? They're hypervigilant, right? And hypervigilant people notice everything. A micro gesture in your face, a slight incongruence in the words and the way that you put them across. So, the people that I work with, even more so would spot me if I was like a phony. And a lot of people will choose to work with me and say, I saw other people, but it just didn't feel right, and it's the same with you. I honestly wouldn't have done your client attraction challenge if I thought you were like the millions of other people. I get contacted every day by people trying to sell me stuff. That's not what you did. I saw your stuff and I just decided to do it, free value, but then you get customers in return.
Yeah. No, inspirational, absolutely, and over and above what I was expecting you to share as well. So thanks so much for that.
Again, Kev, under promise, over deliver. You will remember this. The people on here will remember this, and I'm not doing it for any other reason. It probably comes across that I absolutely love what I do. That's because I absolutely love what I do. It's been dead hard building all of this stuff, and to be honest, I could have paid for lots of different courses, but you learn best when your back's against the wall and you're in the trenches. That's when you learn. You need to put the hours in. You need to get it done. You need to stop being scared. What Confucius said, every man has two lives, and the second one begins when he realizes he has only one. When I use that with clients all the time. I just needed to stop messing about, Kev, and get shit done. And just doing that 30 days with you, the reps of posting every day, messaging clients every day, that was enough to get me into a groove of, this is who I am now. That's who I was. This is who I am now. And to be honest, I've not looked back since then,
Oh, it sounds incredible. And the fact that you're making residual income as well, which is a dream for most people, and you probably never even had that on your radar at the time. But it's kind of like, oh, there's a bonus of getting all this success. So that is amazing.
Yeah, I suppose it's just the product of hard work. You work really hard, right, Kev? You work mental hours. You've told me that before, but because you love it as well. But what you get out of that is, you make a good living out of it, you know, and get to help people. So I think somebody called Sue wrote a question there, but I can't see it.
Yeah, let's have a look what the question is from Sue. So the question from Sue is, what program do you use with your clients for sessions? I think that I would assume Sue's asking, are you using Zoom? Is that what you mean, Sue? Do you want to just clarify on that?
Yes, I'm wondering about Zoom. I actually had a client this morning that for a pre-call, and she said, "Do you use Google Meet?" And I thought, "Oh, I've never thought about Google Meet before." So I just wasn't sure because I, like you, Andy, I do have a Go High Level I'm setting up. So, but I was curious on Google Meets, you know, what would be good. I apologize. They're actually power washing my house right now, so it's kind of noisy. That's why I've got my thing off. But yeah, I was just wondering what when you set up your sessions, what do you use? Or
I use Zoom. I mean, I could have used Google Meet when I was an educator. My school wouldn't allow the use of Zoom, so I used Google Meet when we went into lockdown. I would deliver all of our lessons on Google Meet, and to be honest, I pay a yearly subscription for Zoom. I pay about £100 to get the extras and stuff, and I could get all of that for free probably with Google Meet. I know loads of people, loads of hypnotherapists, loads of other therapists who just use Google Meet and the free version. They both integrate with Go High Level. You can integrate both Zoom and Google Meet. I suppose when I trained with the Jacquins, they used Zoom, so I used Zoom, and then I'm a creature of habit, and I just thought I'll stick with Zoom. It seems to be almost like the gold standard. That's not to say that it's any better than Google Meet. It's just probably the one that's used more openly and consistently. Google Meet is an excellent program. All of the Google products are. If you decided to go with Google Meet, you would have zero problems with that at all.
okay, good. Thank you.
Okay.
Wonderful. Well, Andy, you've given us over an hour of your time, and we really, really appreciate it. And I know this will be one of those top guest speaker recordings that people will come back and watch within our platform, because that's where it'll be over and over again, because it's been an absolute inspiration. So I'm just going to change my my view to gallery view.
I'm just trying to become more famous, Kev. That's all it is, really. You know, I like the notoriety of it all.
Wonderful. Well, that sounds like it's got you out of that comfort zone of
100%.
Shine away. Now you go to your local takeaway and think, you better put a balaclava on because people might see that you're eating shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you so much. Does anybody have one last question for Andy? Because I know I said to him it'd only be an hour, but anybody got one last question?
I keep thinking your cat's trying to ask me a question in the background there, Kev. That cat with the hand that's moving like.
Yeah, it's trying to get your attention. It's just to let you know that you are amazing. Look,
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you so much.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll be talking to you again. Good luck with your new product launch. Be excited to see how that goes for you. It sounds really interesting, and it sounds like you've got world domination well and truly in the bag because you're doing the work.
Yeah, I think if I was going to give people one key takeaway from this is that consistency beats like natural talent every time. I'm not really like naturally talented at many things, but what I'm really good at is consistency. And if you are consistent enough over a long period of time, it will work. You just have to be consistent. You don't have to be the world's best hypnotist. You don't have to be the most charismatic person. I'm not, that's for sure. You just have to be consistent.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Simple.
All right.
Really simple. Yeah. Thanks, Andy.
No
Thank you,
bother.
Andy.
Take care. Thank you so much.
See you later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.